Drama bin drama, Arab drama, ole drama, Nyar drama, zote pamoja. Ayayayayaya. Who would have imagined, who would have thought that a day would come when Oscar Sudi, the controversial Kapseret legislator, would at one sitting give out a lot of information. Yes, he could not resist the abusive language, and he brutally went for a man called David Murathe, yes. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of useful content, viable content, explosive information that Oscar Sudi gave out. But first of all, I want us to take careful note of something that has changed. And this thing which has changed, folks, is a game changer. I kid you not. Now, in many of my videos in the past, I've emphasized one of the reasons why corruption in Kenya has always had very limited information going out to the public. You see, in the journalism profession, for you to get good information, you need information from an insider. Now, until now, this has been the problem. Our politicians have fought. They've had very brutal wars between each other. They have said all kinds of things about each other. But there's one line they have never, ever crossed. Since independence and the beginning of corruption, this line has stated, it's actually an unwritten law, that don't talk about my corruption deals, I will not talk about yours. Simple. And so in the past, the worst that has happened is that you'd hear one politician accusing another one of corruption, but they would not give the details. They would say, so-and-so is corrupt. He has grown rich through corrupt deals. End of story. They will not give you the details, which only an insider would know. You see, these politicians, don't be fooled by party lines or political divides. They go to the same place. They consult the same people for deals. They have the same brokers, etc., etc. And therefore, they know what the other person is doing. And that rule has been very closely and fiercely guarded. Don't speak about my corruption deals, and I will not speak about yours. Now, this is what has changed. One side of the political divide has been attacked for months. Their corruption deals have been exposed for months. And therefore, they have reached that place where they have nothing to lose. The result, Oscar Sudi's statement, naming names, and not just any names, naming names of the big companies that really are responsible for the vast amount of COVID funds that have been embezzled, that have been siphoned off through funny deals, dodgy supply deals, where something is supplied at a price much higher than the market price. Sometimes not even delivered. Sometimes taking items that have already been donated and supplying them. If you listen to Oscar Sudi, and indeed I've included a link in the description area of this video below, and on the top right hand corner at the end of this video, take time to listen to that video. It's long, over 40 minutes. And if you combine that with my very latest weekly intelligence briefings, number 39, you'll get a very clear picture of what has happened here. Because going forward, you can be sure, as I said in an earlier video, the waters will be muddied. There'll be a lot of confusion. There'll be a lot of prosecution of small omena. As a colleague on our Telegram forum puts it, I think it's very appropriate, very accurate. Prosecution of small omenas, small fish, while the big fish get time to safely swim away. But it would seem that Oscar Sudi's long press conference has thwarted, has blocked the way for those big untouchables to swim away. Folks, this is a game changer, no doubt about it. Now, there's something else very important. I can now see a pattern developing. And you know, a pattern developing in anything is extremely critical to take note of. Yeah, because it informs you what may happen down the road. And this pattern developing is very telling. Now, if you read the Holy Bible, you will take note of the fact that when Almighty God wanted to deal with people, there was a certain strategy that keeps on repeating itself in very many battles and very many incidences right through the Bible. A huge coalition of armies would attack Israel. And then something very fascinating would suddenly happen. That huge army, instead of attacking Israel, would turn against each other. They would start fighting brutally amongst themselves. And that is how the battle would be won. Those who are spiritual, take careful note. Yeah. This could suggest a footprint, involvement directly by Almighty God. Yeah, but let's just leave that aside for now. The truth in this life is that when people are united in corruption, it is very difficult to defeat them. It is impossible to break through. But when those corrupt people turn against each other, everything changes. And if you have noticed, if you have been observant, you will notice that on the political scene recently, we have had people telling us secrets about each other. Different political formations have been coming out with the details and telling us these other people are doing this and that, and they're giving us details. Although this latest one by Oscar Sudi beats them all because it was extremely detailed. He named companies. And he went further than that and told us who these companies are associated with or associated to. Yeah. You know, this Oscar Sudi thing is not a small thing. It is huge. Let me give you a brief story. In my early days of political lectures from my political lecturer, he talked a lot about corruption. And I didn't understand the full impact in those days of corruption. And he made sweeping statements which I never understood. For instance, he said, the police force finished. Kenya as a country finished. At the back of my mind, I told myself, Mzee is exaggerating. This can't be. But there's one particular incident he kept on repeating about. And to him he said, that was the beginning of the end of Kenya. And that was the true beginning of impunity of corruption in Kenya. A legislator called Burudi Nabwera revealed in Parliament about a scandal involving some cabinet minister, or rather cabinet ministers, which was christened in those days the Carrefour scandal. Cloves, Carrefour, from Zanzibar. And he talked about an incident where a man called Eliud Mahihu slapped a legislator in the corridors of a courtroom. Why? Because that legislator had poured the beans, revealed this Karafu information which Burudi Nabwera had used in parliament. Mahihu, of course, was in the inner circle. And what that slap meant, it meant, who do you think you are? Do you think you can stop us? Do you know how powerful we are? Do you know who we are for you to dare try to expose us? That was what that slap was all about. And the fact that nothing happened to Mahiu, and the legislator, the whistleblower, instead ended up going to jail, according to my political lecturer, that sent a very clear message. It sent a message that corruption was more powerful than the law. That incident happened in the early 70s. Kenya was still a great country. Corruption was still not very visible. But according to my political lecturer, that was the game changer. Years later, I understood him completely. And I understood why that was the game changer. Fast forward to the present. This Oscar Sudi statement, this Oscar Sudi press conference is a game changer. Years, decades from now, we will say that was when things started changing in Kenya. That was the beginning of corruption being dealt a blow that is difficult to recover from. Now, I know a lot of you will criticize me. You'll tell me, come on, Chris, you don't see the politics going on here? And indeed, I see it. I see the politics. Because Team Tangatanga has seen an opportunity. They have smelt blood from this COVID haste. And what they're trying to do is to cash in fully, take full advantage of it, to gain popularity for themselves, and to make the other side of the political divide very unpopular. That's the political game. And of course, I see it. But I urge you to look at the bigger picture. Based on the mood of Kenyans right now, I'll tell you what's going to happen. People are going to tell Oscar Sudi, thank you very much. You have given us very valuable information. You have done an excellent job. Now, go home with the rest. Mark my words. Even Team Tangatanga will be told, thank you very much. You have done a very good job. Hustler Nation. Now, pack up with your colleagues and go home. I'm well aware of the fact that many of us are still stuck very tightly with our political favorites. Jubilee, ODM, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, etc., etc. But in my view, it is only a matter of time. And those who will remain stuck will notice, somewhere down the road, that they are all alone, or that there are only a handful of people still stuck with a political candidate, while the masses have gone elsewhere. You may think that is wishful thinking, but then of course you're not on the ground. You don't know what's happening. You don't know how Kenyans are talking. You don't know how Kenyans are feeling. And I tell you, from all my years of political analysis and coverage, this one is different. Because it is true in the past, Kenyans have huffed and puffed. And then when elections come, they are put neatly into tribal compartments. And they vote in those tribal compartments. It is true that has happened many times before. But this time, my friends, things are very different. Anyway, you don't have to believe me. Let's wait and see what happens. Because we already know that now a very key rule has been broken. The political class are just starting to expose each other. And that information from Oscar Sudi, and if you combine it with my latest weekly intelligence briefings, details on your screen right now, you will be able to get a complete picture of exactly and precisely what went down here. Nobody, And I mean nobody, will be able to confuse you or to use diversionary tactics on you again, because you'll know exactly what has happened. And when they start prosecuting the small fish, you will be able to sit back and say, iyo omena, 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 mbuta bado. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.